Okay, right up here, please.
Tight quarters.
My favorite is when this is down and it's just.
Yeah, watch your head on your way up.
Not where he spent most of his time, but when the ship's in port, there are conferences to be held, meetings, social events, and that sort of thing. And so this is much better set up for it. More important back in the days when admirals and such had their fleet headquarters on the ships, so a lot of visitors. And it's set up for conferences, lunches, dinners, and so on. There's a galley or a kitchen right on the other side of that bulkhead. And here we have a room with a queen-size bed, shower, toilet facilities, and so on for visiting guests, or for the captain if he feels like it. He can go in there anytime. And please feel free to go in, by the way. And if you want some idea of the visit to this room, check out that computer on top of the desk. You ever seen one of those? Okay. And anyway, it's very nicely set up for that. And right at the top, array of pictures, that's all the people who commanded this ship, starting with Captain Callahan way back in 1944, right up to actually the man whose picture is third from the end should also be on the end. That's Captain Case, Lee Case. He commanded the ship in its last deployment, right through and including the Gulf War, and the actual retirement in January, decommissioning in January 1992. And great guy, he died a couple of years ago, unfortunately, but he, after he retired, he used to show up occasionally. And the last time I saw him anyway, he kind of let his hair grow long and stuff. He kind of looked like a retired hippie. And but that was the image he was trying to project. And he went out on one of the tours. And the poor tour guide was relatively new. And he asked all these questions that, my God, I wouldn't even know the answer to. And the tour guide was just frustrated. I have no idea, sir. I'll find out for you. And then he got a grin on his face and fessed up to what he was doing. But anyway, take a look around if you'd like. And I should mention, this was Admiral Halsey's flagship in 1945. And there's Admiral Halsey, picture of him right down there. That's his hat. And we've had a few distinguished guests on the ship from time to time, both President Bush, President Truman way back in 1947, and Cher. Okay, there's a couple of people I've heard about that. Very interesting, though. She only got invited once. She spent a lot of time in here signing autographs and meeting the crew.
Impressive how long he was in commission for.
Yeah.
See that one
Here it is.
Not that see there. Yeah, place reading, which usually slow those.
Have you ever heard of an air-powered phone? You laugh. There's such a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. They have little holes. Man, I haven't seen a computer like that. I'm not even gonna hate
Since
myself
I was
on
in
that
school.
one. Yeah, since you.
I was in school.
Engine, please take break, stand by in order. Copy that.
No napping.
Yeah, no napping in there.
I see last time I was on ship, we got stuck in the little bed that like stacked and
Yeah,
stacked
yeah.
and stacked.
Well, rank RHIP. Patrick could use
I was
that.
about to say,
Wait till you see his at sea capital.
they're above my pay grade to get this.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a, I've never been wrong. I will say, I was not allowed.
Okay, I have a question about the safe. Is it a gun safe or a regular safe?
Regular safe, probably some coats and stuff stored in there that he's got to have at hand. Might have been a gun safe too. His captain put it in, maybe that's where he kept his liquor supply.
Hey.
You know about Navy ships, right?
Yeah.
Audrey? Okay, gang, everybody all set? Please, with the last person out, shut the door for me. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Go get it.
Let's get in the picture.
There so you can
Come on, yeah, all you all can walk.
Don't forget about your camera, Dad.
I didn't forget mine. I just wanted to take a picture.
Alright,
No, let me close the door.
well, your dad's at it.
Alright, come on.
Not there.
Close the door. Close the door.
You're supposed to close the door. You're the
You're not
last
gonna.
one. Just close the door.
Alright, door's closed. Yeah, what's funny is she doesn't have to duck.
Let's say,
Yeah, you can see many people have hit their head there already.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that one as the captain's quarters.
There.
Okay, so we're
Oh, yeah.
going to the next spot.
Watch your head here, sir.
Yes, sir. I've been in subs. I understand. I'm too tall.
They're not made for people his size. They're made for my size.
let's say. You just walked through that like nothing. Me and everyone else is trying to go.
It's a force of habit. I gotta duck anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a peek of what it would look like in here most of the time.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So these blue lights originally had nighttime in mind because if the ships at sea at night, white lights were on, so they would open the door, advertise your presence on the horizon. So blue light very close, you can't see very far away. But it's also found over time that people looking at these instruments for each watch 4 hours. It get very tiring of the eyes with the white lights. And found that this stuff was much better. So it'd be like this most of the day.
Oh,
Most of the day at night. Okay, but Welcome to the Combat Engagement Center, CEC. You've probably heard of the CIC, Combat Information Center. But we have one of those too. A couple of decks below us, but far too small to put all of this extra stuff in that was added in the 80s. So they needed a space that didn't have to be deconstructed too much where they could put all this stuff in. And they used this. This was Admiral Halsey's flag suite in 1945. Had a bedroom and shower and so on, and a couple of offices and a conference room right in this area. Now imagine, it's September 2nd, 1945. Japanese surrender delegation is about to board the ship, 2 decks below us. And sitting right here are General Douglas MacArthur, Commander-in-Chief Pacific Fleet Chester Nimitz, and Fleet Admiral William Halsey. And they're sitting here at the conference table waiting for the Japanese delegation to be set up, assembled. And, excuse me, and at one point General MacArthur got up, went through that door and through the other one to look down, see if they were ready. They weren't. So he came back and he said something like, "Gentlemen, sit down. We're going to relax for a few minutes. They're going to wait for us. We're not going to wait for them." So thus, a few minutes later, they went down, and half an hour later, World War II was over. Formally. And have you been on a regular tour yet?
No.
Okay, please do that after this one. It's very informative. But more to the point of what we're doing here. Okay, here we have air search radar repeaters. We've got 2 of them here. There's another one on the other side of the world. When the ship is at sea, friendly aircraft are equipped with what's called an IFF, Identified Friend or Foe system. It's an electronic signal that goes out every 35 seconds or something like that, and it will show up on these screens so that these guys don't have to worry about that aircraft at all. They don't have to challenge it. But one more important thing, this one here also serves air traffic control. Why do we need air traffic control? We don't fly airplanes. Well, the big guns, when they fire at maximum range of 33 nautical miles, the projectiles go up to 34,000 feet. So if the guns are going to fire, they notify these guys, and they have to make sure that there are none of our aircraft anywhere in the way of that trajectory, so we don't shoot down our own aircraft. So very important job. Right here, now, in 1945, that model that's down in the boardroom, we may have had a chance to look at it. In 1945, we had 151 anti-aircraft barrels on the ship, ranging from single barrel 20 millimeters, quad 40 millimeters, and the 5-inch guns, most of which are still on the ship today, with dual purpose. And that was, well, I wouldn't say more than adequate, but it certainly was very helpful to anti-aircraft protection to take care of the carriers and the ship, of course. But those were removed when the ship was modernized in the 80s because they were obsolete. What replaced them was this guy here, Sea-Whiz, Close-In Weapon System. Sometimes called a phalanx, if you may have heard of that. It's a Gatling gun, radar-directed, 1,500 meter range, fires at the rate of 3,000 rounds a minute. And we have 4 of them, 2 aft, 2 forward, and I will introduce you to those in detail. But basically, radar picks up an unfriendly aircraft or a missile coming in. What they have to do is notify this guy of which quadrant it's coming in, and let's say it's northeast, then he would activate the Sea-Whiz for the northeast quadrant right there, and it's radar directed, kind of follows the target itself and destroys it in flight. And I'll introduce you to one of those up close and personal in a while. Okay. Well, over here we've got the man that commands this particular facility is a tactical action officer, TAO, Navy rank of commander or lieutenant commander Navy, and he sits in a higher chair not because of his exalted status, but because it allows him to see over the heads of the guys here. Now, this ship was being modernized in the 1980s, and at that time GPS was pretty good, but they couldn't quite make it interface with the system they needed here at that time. So this is actually old technology here, but it worked pretty well. There would be, that's called the vertical plot, by the way, there would be an enlisted man or two behind there with headsets on getting information from other parts of the ship. And they're writing backwards on that board to allow this man to see it in real time. Now, writing backwards is not something you learn to do by yourself, not very well in any event. They had to go into an immersion school. When they went through that door, they had to read, write, and conceptualize everything backwards. And of course, that took some time. I had a good fortune to run into a young man here a while back. I was trying to explain that as best I could. And he said, you know, I was on a destroyer. I used to do that. And I said, all right, it's your tour, sir. Take it over. So he told us a story. I'll make it short. I don't do that very well, but he said they got into that atmosphere, and he said they were just going crazy with it for a while. Then he got to the point where he started writing letters to his girlfriend backwards to make her hold it up to the mirror so she could read it. And I said, you know, that's a pretty good idea. I said, how'd that work out for you? And he said, oh, pretty well. She's right here. And she was literally right there at the time. And I said, really? And she said, yeah. She said, I finally had to say yes just to get him to stop that. So there's nobody here that has to make a note of that, but okay. And by the way, that would be a high-def flat-screen TV now tied directly into GPS. Harpoon anti-ship missiles. They have a range of about 60 miles, and they're used for ship-to-ship warfare. In the ship's modern configuration, it was never involved in any kind of direct naval confrontation, so they were never used in anger. However, a few of them were fired for training purposes. So when you leave the ship, you get down on the pier. If you look up at this side of the ship, you'll see 4 of them sticking out. They have General Electric on them, and there's also a mock-up of a Tomahawk cruise missile up there, which is Raytheon brand. Okay, so just to allow you to tell the difference. The cruise missile is much larger. Those 2 green screens, those are surface search radars. One's keeping an eye on the surface area around the ship, the other on the land area. It's just kind of a backup system for the other radars. Okay, now here we have Tomahawk cruise missiles. They were fired from these positions. Tomahawk cruise missiles range from about 1,000 miles up to 1,000 miles, 600 miles an hour, extremely accurate over very long distances. And we started off the Gulf War with 32 of them on board. Fired 31 of the 32. And the use of a Tomahawk cruise missile, however, that's a strategic decision. They're not deciding anything in here. So when it comes down from Central Command or whatever, down through the system, it comes to the captain. The captain says, we're going to fire such and such. And he gets the coordinates. You see some of these safes around here, they have codes in them as well. They have to be removed only when these are going to be fired. And once the guy has the coordinates, he sits at that keyboard, he enters them in there, and there's a key there, and the captain has a key up there. They match, and they have to be turned within 5 seconds of each other, or they have to start the whole process over again. Safety measure. Now, once he does that, he first of all verifies that the area around the missile is clear of people, so nobody will be injured. And then once it's fired, he has to verify that it actually left its box launcher. Beyond that probably most of the time that'd be a pretty boring job. But once in a while, it gets a little exciting. Now this guy over here, Slick 33, that's electronic countermeasures. This guy can, if there's an incoming missile, or incoming aircraft, or something electronic coming toward the ship that's dangerous, then he can interfere with all of their guidance systems and so on. So he just keeps them away from the ship. That big room in there, it's got all kinds of stuff in it, which looks kind of sophisticated. We had a man here, some time ago. He actually was on the ship during the Gulf War. I said, what's all that stuff in there doing? He said, well, I can't really tell you. He's pulling my leg. In other words, he can tell me I wouldn't understand, which is a perfectly good assumption. But he said, let me tell you what our motto is. I said, what's your motto? He said, our motto is, in God we trust. We listen in on everybody else. So just monitoring all the communications around the ship. Okay, now that was very quickly through here. Any questions on anything?
No, this is so interesting.
Where are all the phones?
Oh, the phones. Okay, the red phones, those I forgot to mention those. Thank you. The red phones are for classified communications.
Okay.
Those two within, I believe, within the ship. The other two are classified external communications, so that they're all scrambled, and only certain individuals can use them.
Okay.
All right? And the other one, I think, orders pizza. Don't pick it up or you'll be on the arm for 110 pizzas. You don't want to do that. Okay, follow me, please.
That's a light order for a ship this size.
Watch your shoulders on this.
Pretty cool stuff, guys. On to the next spot.
Earl's veranda deck. Now, try to imagine 1945, William Hall, Admiral Halsey's out here pacing the floor trying to solve a problem, trying to strategize a little bit. And that's fine, that he did. But more to the point, this is one of the places on the ship where we're going to try to preserve the original 1945 deck. It's going to be a job because you can see it's already taken a little bit of a beating. But this hopefully, you know, teak, it only lasts about 85, 90 years. You got to replace it.
Yep.
Okay, follow me down this way, please. Okay, now this, that's one of our secrets right up there. We call it R2D2. You can see why. 4 of them, 2 aft, 2 forward, as I mentioned, and we'll have you up close and personal with one of those in a little while. Now you get the front one. Give you a couple of ladders here. Please be careful, it's wet.
Spiral locker.
My locker? Watch your head.
Just go forward a little bit so you can see up here.
Alright, my turn.
Okay, these are armored box launchers. Each of them held 4 Tomahawk cruise missiles. They open like an oyster shell, firing off 1 to 4 as needed. As I mentioned before, we had 32 aboard, fired 31 of the 32. As you can tell, look at the right-hand corner of that one, 4 Tomahawk insignia indicate that one fired all 4. In fact, the only one that misfired was on the other side of that structure, so we can't really see it. But pretty good, 31 out of 32. Not bad. Okay, one more ladder and we're up with.
Was it neat?
The Sea Winds R2D2. 20 millimeter belt fed, 3,000 rounds a minute, 1,500 meter range. And it can be depressed, so it can actually fire at surface targets, but it's really more designed for aircraft or missiles. It locks on its target and just follows it until the target's destroyed. Very little human intervention is needed in that at that point. And again, we got forward, 2 aft, 2 forward. Okay.
If it was towards ground targets, would someone take over for it then?
I'm sorry, sir?
If it was, because you said it also had the capabilities of ground targets.
Yep.
If it was used for that, would someone take over? For it?
There would probably be some human intervention, but again, it's looking at the air really, so if you get something that gets a little too close, they can take care of it pretty quickly. Hello. Okay, this is the conning tower. It's part of the, this is the top of the Citadel. The Citadel is a ship within a ship, 17 inches of armor going all the way down to the main armor deck. And you'll see what that 17 inches of armor looks like in a few minutes. And also all of the inner workings of the ship, by the way. But you got probably the best photograph you get off this ship is right there. We call it the bookends photograph. The forward part, bottom of the photo, you get the main batteries of the Missouri, and the bow, in the distance you have the Arizona Memorial. Literally, the bookends of World War II. So go take a picture of it, and I'll wait for you right here.
Higher than
I don't know if you pick up my leg. I'm like sticky.
Take a picture that way.
Nicknames.
Nice day, that's great. Start raining.
So you twist this thing to get clear.
Is that interesting?
I report you
Wow.
at 12:55. Please take a break until then. Copy that. Mommy, see those little towers? We can see.
Oh, we try.
That's good.
Try to keep it.
Then you twist the that.
That's fine.
I thought you would
That one.
wait till you get the turn. That's even
Alright.
totally cool. Okay, we're going to go down this ladder. I prefer to go down back here.
Okay.
Rodents around the house.
be able to tell them. And so when these things are shut, all the air conditioning is shut off. So when you guys it'll be pretty tropical in there very quickly. And the ship goes to condition 0, which is C. So, okay? All right, now follow me around here. This, by the way, is the control of the helm of the ship, and we'll show you a better view of that when we get around.
Okay.
The ship will run away, a nice day, and it's starting to rain. We'll group will do the sailing right here. That is the helm, or the steering wheel of the ship right there. And there will be 3 men in there typically. And it's, I think, I find it very interesting that all of the fighting spaces on the ship and all of the control spaces on the ship, you can't see anything. It's all indirect through instruments. There are 2 little kind of peepholes up there. I wouldn't rely on them to give you much of a view of the outside. But that's where the ship was controlled anyway. Okay?
Interesting.
Now that's where that camera's going to come in real handy. It's going to be just like you've got in there. Okay, right here. Here you have the chart room. Very important in the 40s and 50s because after all, it determined where you were going, where you were, and your position and so on. A little less important in the 80s because we now have GPS. However, we've got one of these things here, which is a dead reckoning tracer. So they would keep a minute by minute count of every place the ship had been over each watch of 4 hours, and then see if it reconciles with, actually to see if GPS reconciles with this, so with it. So right in there, you have the captain's at sea cabin. Not quite as comfy as the other one, as you will see.
Not twin bed, really. It kind of does
Does it? That's the captain's sea cabin. Because he's got to be next to the I gotta watch the camera first. Don't be a little bit behind. Okay, we're going to go down here. And the next one, please. Careful. This is where World War II ended, September 2nd, 1945. And the ceremony took place right over there. After our tour, please take advantage of one of the 35-minute highlight tours. You don't have to stay for the whole thing, but get up here and hear that story because it's very interesting. And it changed all of our lives, even if we weren't alive at the time. Okay, so anyway, follow me. That goes on every 10 minutes. I'll get right where we'll end up.
This was not, it was, and this, I think, kind of turned the movement. Because, so when General MacArthur completed his opening remarks, He advised the representatives of the Japanese government went forward to sign. Mr. Shigemitsu signed, the president of the government of Japan. The General Uematsu signed, the general staff of the army. And the government partners stepped forward and sat down and signed.
The camera's here. All right. Just this is turret number 1, and it's a little tight walking in, but once you get in there, it's a virtual basketball court. Watch the overhead, though, sir.
Yes, sir.
All I need is a volunteer to go first.
Get in there.
I do.
All right. Oh man, I got
You're Marine, that's your mission.
Volunteer, but she already jumped.
I was gonna do it since I was small.
Oh,
Hop in there, Carol. You're next. Once you're ready. Get in there, baby. You want me to hold your water? Do you want me to hold your water, baby?
Can't find it. It just vanished.
The cat just disappeared.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think the ship ate the cat. I think he noticed it. Oh, is that it right there?
Jeez, it could be. I don't know how she managed that. We'll get her.
That could be it. All clear? Assuming so.
Oh, wow. Okay, we're a bit larger than I thought we were.
Okay, I told you there's plenty of room in here, didn't I? I only exaggerated a little bit. Full complement of the turret, by the way, would be 29 people. However, there would be 5 people down at each of those 3 gun decks for the duration, leaving another 11 or so around here. So that's spread around the turret, so it's not quite as claustrophobic as it might appear. Okay, I'm going to start us out with a little video.
Well, Teresa, we're gonna be watching that. See if we got that.
Jeez, I'm ready to run.
Still see the red light.
The video is it's a film that was shot in the 1940s. It'll be self-explanatory. It's called a training film, but it's not. It's just kind of an introductory film. The second one you'll see is a video that was shot in the 1980s. It'll be very, the difference will be very obvious.
Okay. Steve has been a regular watch.
General quarters, all units man your battle stations.
When a target was spotted and the order for battle stations had been given, a highly trained crew maneuvered with great speed and precision, providing all the necessary components to bring these giants to life. The projectile was hoisted up from one of 2 projectile flaps as the powder bags were being loaded and hoisted from the powder handling room. This was happening as the gun itself was being brought into the loading position. The cradle operator brought the spanning tray into position, and the shell was loaded into the breech by a rammer. Up from the powder handling room, the powder bags were hoisted and dumped by the hoist operator 6 decks below. The gun captain and cradle operator spread the first 3, making room for the second 3 powder bags. The bags were gently pushed into the breech by the rammer on the cue of the gun captain. It was now time to retract the rammer and spanning tray and close the breech. After the breech was sealed, the gun captain threw the ready switch. This switch could only be moved when the breech was sealed. The gun was ready to be fired. The 23-mile range made these guns fearsome, but accuracy made them deadly.
Okay, that'll give you an idea. There it is, okay. That second video was filmed from a cruiser that was about 50 yards in front of the Missouri. Now, what was all the excitement about? That's the first time those guys had ever seen those guns fire, so I'm sure the expression awesome wasn't in play there, but if it had been, there would have been a few of those too. Okay, that'll give you an idea. The first part of the process, loading and firing the guns, well-trained crew that takes about 35 to 40 seconds. So we can fire 27 rounds in a minute and a half from all 3 targets without having to stop and retarget. You may have noticed a puff of smoke that came out after they fired. That's the remnants of compressed air. When the gun's fired, they retreat 4 feet into the turret on a cushion of compressed air, which takes up the recoil and allows it, and the smoke is just the compressed air blowing any remnants out of the barrel, okay? And earlier iterations of battleships, they would be just as accurate with their first salvo, but they would actually move the ship 20 yards or so because of the recoil. So they'd have to stop and retarget. So we get off about 3 rounds to the other one if we get into a contest. Okay. Take a look at that chart right over there for a moment. That's not to scale. The bottom part of that's the powder handling movement. We've actually run off both sides of that with scale. On one side, they store all the powder bags. They're stored in those big aluminum cans you see all over the place. They're called powder cans. They stay in there right until they're absolutely needed. And once that's open, somebody has to carry those powder bags to the other side of the powder handling room to put them in the powder hoist, which brings them up here. And they weigh 110 pounds each. So if we carry a few of those around for 5, it'll be a pretty good ship. 2 decks above it, those are the projectile flats. The carousel that just turns around and turns the projectile around for you, so there's very little handling that has to be done there. And the high explosive rounds weigh 1,900 pounds each. The armor piercing 2,700 pounds each. So when they talk about firing something that weighs as much as a Volkswagen, that's what they're talking about. Okay, but more importantly, the guns can be controlled from 3 places, or 3 ways. It can be controlled from the gun directors. There are 3 of them. Spot 1 is way up in the superstructure, as high as you can get in the ship. Spot 2 is on top of it, and so the aft end of the ship, Spot 3 is right above us. Any of those can control the guns. However, they're usually controlled by the gun director up to spot number 1, because they have the best physical view of everything around, and they've also got the best, they've got all of the incoming radar and stuff, information. The radar system that I had up there, up that high, can detect incoming planes about 250 miles away. Incoming ships about 70 to 80 miles away. So just due to the fact that they're up so high, such high elevation. So once that the gun director, they can direct it there. Usually goes down to the plotting room, which is a couple of decks below. So the plotting room is a really cool place. If you have a chance to come back and take an engineering tour, that you have down there. 2 parts. The first part, you walk in, it controls those 5-inch guns on each side. Those are dual purpose. They can be used for level firing, or in our case, anti-aircraft using proximity fuses and radar. There are two controls in there because they point in opposite directions. The other part controls the 16-inch guns. Now, the heart of the matter, what controls all of this stuff, is down there, it's called a Mark I rangekeeper. And Mark I rangekeeper is a gyromechanical computer designed in the 1920s, repeat, 1920s, modified and improved until about 1935, and installed in all of our ships that came off the line starting then. It uses triangulation and very, very accurate over short or long distances, extremely so. Third question. Let's say that target number 1 has a target of opportunity out there, which is not convenient for turret 2 or turret 3. Well, in that case, it's controlled right here. Turret captain has a periscope right here. Turret officer has another one over there. The switch, the board of switches you see, each of those just indicates which of the guns is going to fire, and so on. And it's all controlled right there, the big gray box. That's a Mark III rangekeeper, and it's again gyromechanical device. They didn't call it a computer back then, by the way, but it is a computer, and it uses triangulation. And we'll say that we've got a target of opportunity. Okay, it accounts for distance, of course, sea conditions, wind, humidity sometimes can affect the shot, and any other variables that might come in there. And if it's a moving target, a moving ship, somebody gave me the analogy a couple of weeks ago. He said, well, football, so the football, long pass, you don't know where the guy is, you know where the guy is going to be when he gets there. And the cost of that too is very, very accurate. And the ship has a very, very good record of keeping that with the locally controlled stuff. Now, as you go around, please take a look at any of those 3 large portholes here to get an idea of what the inside of that looks like. It's all brass, it's brass, it's a spark, and the rammer you saw in that film, that's that thing right there. It's a very large bicycle chain. It does its job, and it just retracts. It tucks away under there, so it's never in the way. How loud did it get in here, do you think, when the guns fired?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty low.
Nope, actually it didn't, much to my surprise. We had a while ago, there was a guy in here, it was a Korean War veteran. He was in turret number 2. Well, we had him captured in here. We wouldn't let him out until he answered everything we wanted to know. But how loud did he get? He said, actually, if you're in here, and you're not really paying attention, you might not even know they fired. It's just a little bit of concussion. That's amazing because, but he said, think about it, it's 17 inches, actually 18 inches long on this turret. And all the concussion, all the noise, and all the energy's going out that way. Nothing in here. And you've got that armor in front, you've got 10 inches on the top, you've got 12 inches around the side. If you're out on the deck, though, and the guns are going to fire, they have to sound a salvo alarm, which tells everybody the guns are going to fire in 30 seconds. If you don't have to be out here, get under cover. And that worked pretty well. But back in the day, the guys in the anti-aircraft guns that you couldn't just get up and walk undercover. So they had to use some pretty sophisticated gear for breathers. That was cotton. I become a little bit better over the years after that. But, and he said that actually the sound is not so much, it's very loud, it's more visceral, it just kind of goes right through you. But anyway, that's kind of a quick once-over. Any questions?
No.
You did a really good job explaining everything.
Well, use me, you won't have me all day, you know. So, well, okay, in that case, I hope just a couple of things to wrap up. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope it takes up the home run. And if you got any more questions you could think of? Okay, in that case, just let me thank you very much for joining us. And just to mention, it's not compulsory, of course, but most appreciated. It's okay to tip your tour guide. But let me get you out of here safely. Don't want anybody tripping.
All right.
This is not my favorite labs. Please be careful. He has to rub the top away, so. That's the kind of guys.
See how far down that thing goes.
I've been there, dude.
But if you look, three, yeah, you got good views right there.
Yeah.